In this video, I will share with you tips to help you increase your productivity. Now, these tips are in no specific order. They're just some tips that I jotted down that I always use that help me get more done throughout the day and throughout the week. So tip number one is make sure you use a calendar for your appointments. I know people out there where they say, oh yeah, I'll call you next week, but they never write it down anywhere. And so two things on this. If you're using this to build your business, make sure you're using a contact management system like the one in our system to keep notes and to keep track of everyone. And if you're using it for other things like personal appointments or other areas, use a Google Calendar or another calendar and have it sync between all your devices. The second tip is don't check your email constantly throughout the day. I think if you check your email all the time, it can be a constant distraction. What I like to do is I'll generally check my email once in the morning and once in the evening. And I know some people say, well, how can you survive without that? Well, I do. I actually don't have email go to my smartphone. I have a smartphone, and I'm one of the few people I know that doesn't ding every time an email comes in. And I do this for a couple reasons. A, that ding drives me nuts. But the thing is, every time you get a little distraction like that, the 2 minutes it takes to answer your email, a lot of times it takes you 10 minutes to get refocused on the activity you're doing. There's actually a lot of studies out there that give examples like that. So what I do is I check my email once in the morning and once in the evening. And I promise you, if someone's sending you an email and you take a few hours to get back to them, it's not the end of the world. Tip number three is be efficient with your voicemails. And I'm especially speaking to anyone out there I'm working with who leave me voicemails. And what I mean by this is if you leave someone a voicemail, don't say, hey John, this is Chris, call me back. That's a very, pointless voicemail. If it's one of your best friends, that's fine if you're catching up. But if you're doing business, hey John, this is Chris. I was calling because that email you sent me over with such and such a thing, I didn't understand the point here, here, and here. I need clarification on that. Did you mean this or did you mean that? Anyway, give me a call. Talk to you soon. And so what that does is I've actually relayed my message to the person, so if they catch the voicemail, they know what I want. Now, you can't always relay all the details in there, but a lot of times you can. And then when that person calls me back, and if I don't answer the phone, they can leave a voicemail giving me my answer. Or they can say, it could be, hey Chris, this is John. Sorry, I will resend an email with that clarified data for you. So check your email and look over it. It should make sense now because I put such and such a thing in there. And so that makes it more efficient. And I can tell you from my personal experience, and I think a lot of people are like me, I call people back a lot faster who leave detailed voice messages because I know what they want and I know how to help them out. And it's very annoying to get in one of those voicemail things where people say, hey John, this is Chris, call me. And I call them back, hey John, this is Chris, I'm calling you back. And then it goes back and forth a few times like that. So if someone does call you and say, hey, so-and-so, call me back, and you get a voicemail for them, I'll leave a voicemail like, hey John, this is Chris, I got your voicemail. I wasn't sure exactly what I could help you out with, but if you call me back and I don't pick up, if you could, leave me a detailed message and tell me what I could help you out on. That way, if we keep playing phone tag, we can hopefully get this issue resolved or something like that. So be efficient with your voicemails. Tip number four, be effective with making your phone calls. And this is really, I know as a new distributor or a new person network marketing, a lot of times you feel like you have to spend, a half an hour or an hour on the phone with a new person you're talking with or a new team member or, do all this small talk. You don't have to do that. There's a time and place for that. You can certainly build relationships, and I do that myself, but don't feel like you have to do it all the time. So, get to the point where you're talking with someone or someone calls you and they're asking, well, how's your day? How's this going? Blah, blah, this and that and this. And you're busy, you want to get to the point, just say, be direct. Say, hey John, I've only got about 10 minutes. I have to hop off and move on or move out to an appointment. What can I help you out with? It's a polite way, but it kind of gives you a time limit on your phone call and lets the person know, hey, this isn't the time for me to sit around and chat with you for a bit. I've only got a few minutes. What can I do for you? And on the other side, be aware that as you talk with people, especially like prospects or potential business partners or new team members you're training, a lot of times they don't want to spend a half hour or an hour on the phone with you either. So be effective, get to the point. I'm not saying be rude or don't build relationships, but don't feel like you have to have a long conversation or some detailed conversation every time you talk with someone. Tip 5, this is keeping your email, voicemail, and other inboxes organized. So going back to what I talked about in the previous video on getting things organized and creating action lists for projects, your inboxes is where kind of all this stuff collects on there. So I've seen most people's email inboxes, they'll log in their Google account and there's 30,000 messages in there with 2,000 unread messages. You log into my email account and there might be 0 to 10 emails in there from previous weeks. I don't carry a lot of stuff. My voicemail, there's usually not many voicemails in there. Because what effective people do is when they get them, if you get an email coming in, take care of it right away then. Either, respond to it if it's something short, delete it if it's junk or you don't need it, or if it's something you can't do right then and there, transfer it over to your project list so you get it done, and assign a due date to it, or leave it in there for a day or two until you can get back to it. But don't let things build up because that just creates confusion, things get lost, and creates disorganization. So my recommendation is keep your email box clean, keep your voicemail box clean, and I say keep your other inbox clean. Like I have a sticky notepad next to me throughout the day, so as ideas come in or I talk to people on the phone, I'll jot down things I need to do or things I need to accomplish, and then sometime that day or the next day, I'll transfer that stuff over to my project management software to stay organized. Tip number 6, it's okay to say no. This is especially for the yellow personalities out there. You don't have to say yes to everyone. You don't have to make everyone happy. If someone asks you to do something and you don't have the time for it, be willing to say no. I know for some people this could be like moving the world, but it's all right to say no. And once you learn to say no, you'll get more things done because you won't find yourself doing activities that don't meet with your goals anymore. So it's okay to say no and get comfortable with saying no. Tip number 7 is that someone else's fire isn't your emergency. And what I mean by this is I've had people, and I'm sure you have too, where they wait to the last minute to get something done and then they can't, and then they call me up or call you up for help, or I gotta get this done, can you help me out? And here's my philosophy on there. If you help the person out, they'll keep doing it because they know they can come to you and basically abuse your time, because that's what they're doing. They're abusing or they're disrespecting your time. So what I do, very politely, just say, hey, look, sir, I can help you out. I've got these other things that I have to get done by tomorrow, and we talked about this a week ago. Coming to me at the 11th hour isn't the time to do this. So this kind of goes along with, it's okay to say no, but make sure if someone comes to you with something urgent or fire to put out, don't always drop everything you do and help them out. Now, I know a lot of times you can't do that because it's part of your job or part of something you're doing, but there are those certain situations where people wait till the last minute and then they call you up and expect you to drop everything to help them out. So someone else's fire isn't your emergency. Tip number 8, turn off those notifications and distractions. I already mentioned I would recommend you turn off the email on your smartphone, or at least turn off the ding for every time an email comes in, because it's like 20 or 30 dings throughout the day. If you're using Facebook or Twitter, you don't need to know every single time someone liked your post or someone posted something. I mean, those are, I see people, I have a 20-minute conversation with them, they get 10 dings on their phone and they have to respond to it. And I don't do that because number one, it annoys the heck out of me, but it makes you less efficient because you have constant distractions. And while I enjoy catching up with people and doing things on Facebook, it's not something I have to do every single minute throughout the day. I can look at it once throughout the day or twice throughout the day, or while I'm eating lunch here and there, and catch up and see what's going on. So turn those things off and focus on those important activities that will make you money. Tip 9, exercise. I know this kind of doesn't go along with the other tips, but I know when I don't exercise, I get a lot less work done. A lot of times I get antsy or even agitated. And so all the benefits of exercise. It gets rid of stress, it gets the mind relaxing. Make sure you exercise or get the blood flowing, every single day. What I do, the first thing I wake up is I go for about a 10 or 15 minute walk and do some very light warm-up exercises in the morning. A few push-ups, some stretches, some movements, things like that. Because when I do that, it gets my blood flowing, I'm much more awake, and get a lot more done those first few hours in the morning. Tip 10, focus 100% on the task or the person you're talking with. And this can be difficult, but if you're working on a project that you need to get done, turn off your phone, shut down your email. Or if you're talking with someone, don't be looking at your phone or doing things while you're talking with the person. Focus 100% at the task at hand or the person you're talking with. You'll get more done, and the person you're talking with will appreciate it a lot more. So those are just 10 tips I came up with that really help me get more done throughout the day and throughout the week. So take the ones that'll help you out, and I'm sure there's probably a few that you can add in there as well.